Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 57. Let's jump into things. Like a little bit of a smallish turn, but yeah. We've got a bunch of site searching. So we've got Gnome Lore found nothing, Augury found nothing, Apsu found nothing, Probing found nothing. We did a reanimation, and we did a Ghost General. Then we did a Auspex in Blockhalber and found nothing. Then we did a Horospex in Zemicki, and we found a Wolf Oak. So this is actually a pretty positive province at this point, with the High Mages, Iron Cliff, Wolf Oak, Well of Pestilence. The Wolf Oak is just a nature +1, so that's pretty cool. So gem income for this turn, boom, nature +1. Pretty happy to. I mean, of course we would have rather gotten more of other things, but always happy to add nature to our list. Nature, I think, is one of the most universally useful options to have in your arsenal. What else do we have going on? We have a couple of battles. We have attacked in Osteen. What do we got here? We have got a Dione running up against just a little bit of PD, so nothing big here. I don't think there's anything here that Junichi cannot handle. Let's see if the PD gets lucky. It does not. Okay. Very nice. Okay. There we go. We get to witness Hinam attacking Lanka in the Parched Expanse. Hold up a minute. This is the combined forces of Hinam's army against just a little PD dropped by Hinam or by Lanka. That is in the Parched Expanse. We're going to talk quite a bit about that here in a second. We get to watch Ubar attack Helheim in Lyratos. We've got an actual Ifrit Sultan here, all kitted out. It has a Shade Mail Haberkin, Ring of Returning, Amulet of Anti-Magic for anti-sniping, right? All that good jazz. This guy's been horror marked. That's kind of unfortunate. He does have a Stinger, which is interesting. Can allow him to repel and things like that. And then a Vine Shield. Very good defensive build. Interesting. What is he up against? Up against more than just a little PD. There's also a Vanyarl back here with a Moonblade. Does he count as a magic being? I think he does. And he's got Salt. Yeah, he's totally a magic being. Right. Interesting. I wonder if this Vanyarl can actually do the do against this Sultan. An Earth Power. Phoenix Power. Phoenix Power. Okay, this Vanyarl does drop down and start swinging. Swing and a miss for both of them so far. Swing and a miss. Did he just route? He did, it looks like. Does this guy have fear? He does have fear. So, unfortunate. It looks like no damage was exchanged at all. But that Vanyarl fear broke, so that's sad news. Well, I mean, sad news if I'm rooting for Pelheim. It's just it's always nice to see like the counter option, especially a pretty cheap counter option, go up against something that is like fully kitted out, and you're like, oh yeah, let's see if it works. And it might have worked had he not just fled. So, all right, so looks like Ubar takes that one. Interesting. We attacked in Shambalik. And then this is just a cluster of our forces. Nothing really happening there. And then we also attack in Scythia. And that's just going to be a rout. We cannot take on our Yig Golath, the horror. Yeah, that guy is just gonna mulch through our Bakuman shows. Unfortunate, is what it is. So, interesting little turn there with like some of the developments. We're gonna talk more about this when we get to it. But battle win-loss ratio, 2 wins, 0 losses versus Hinnom, and 1 loss versus Indies. So there's that. And we've got some events. So we have an unexpected event in Tapaneti. This is just a rebirth event. We have a tax collection that went unexpectedly well in Jabero. So we got an extra 156 gold. And then seafarers in Strongdale have boosted the province income by 15. So that's pretty neat. Event-wise, gold plus 156. Cool. Take that. And the god of Agartha has been slain. So, I guess honestly, of all the things I should report on, I should report on players being defeated. I did not realize that Agartha had not been defeated at this point. I assumed that there had been some little like fortification that was a holdout somewhere somehow. That someone just hadn't popped yet because they were distracted by other things, whether that was Lanka or Hinnom or what have you, right? But I guess defeats. I'm not sure that's what I'm going to call this, but Agartha destroyed? Or Agartha vanquished, let's say that. So, that's cool. Alright. And aside from that, let's jump into the actual thing itself. So, let's just talk about the Hinnom stuff. All of this stuff is just moving things around, moving in reinforcements or moving Ko-Oni around or Oni around, etc., right? So, let's not worry about any of that. Let's focus on what's going on over here. So, in the previous turn, right, we had moved on to Merini. He had moved part of his force from Hinnom into Great Mountains, and the other part from his force from Shambolic into Belfields, right? We moved from Merini into Shambolic. He has, in that time frame, he has consolidated his forces from Great Mountains and Belfields in the opposite direction. He's gone to the Parched Expanse. And the only thing I can fathom, the only concept that makes any sense in my mind at all in this particular situation is that Hinnom is making the statement or has the idea that what I currently have in his lands is either not a threat or that he feels he can handle it with what he has in his capital, basically, right? And I don't think that's the case. I think we lost last time to some bad luck and basically just being outmaged. And if we check Parched Expanse, that's 19 Amis, 14 Shamans, his god, 3 of his Melkarts. Like, this is a big force here. The majority of his power. And I think, here's the thing. The only reason I can imagine him going west is basically saying, I'm not worried about Yomi, let's try to fight back against Lanka and try to regain some of my lost territory. Lanka doesn't have much over here, right? So if I can take some of this back, then I can gain a boost in income, strength, etc., etc., and I can start to press my advantage against Yomi or something along those lines, right? Like, that's the only thing that I can fathom. So, if he has moved into recombined his forces into Parch's Expanse, my assumption is that he's gonna march towards Agartha. We will pop Marini, so we'll pop Marini in a single turn with combined forces. And here's the other thing, and people forget this, right? Is we were just in Marini, so its unrest is now boosted. With its unrest boosted, we are now going to be stronger there because of our chaos power, right? So we will actually have higher strength and thus higher siege strength. We were unable to one turn the fort last turn because it didn't have enough unrest at the start of that turn. But now, we absolutely will pop this Marini in a single turn. With the combined forces that we have here in Shambolic and here in Jabero, because we can consolidate them now, we absolutely will pop Marini in a single turn. And I think that's what we're going to do. So, obviously, if he marches back, he's in a wasteland right now, so it's unlikely that he's going to be able to march all the way back with the whole force to Marini. He could march back into Great Mountains, or march into Belfields, or march up to Rolothia, etc., etc. And if he does march back towards us, then it doesn't matter if we pop the fort in one turn. We're probably going to retreat at that point, because I don't know that we want to take that fight necessarily. But if he marches into Runia or Eagle Reach, for example, he's not going to be in range to be able to reinforce Marini before we can attack it. Unless he honestly thinks that he can beat us with what he has here in his capital. And I don't think that's the case, right? So I think Hinnom is misplayed here. And I don't know if this is like a desperation act of, oh, hey, I have to take back some of these lands or else I'm just not going to be able to afford things. Or if this was just like a miscalculation and he thought what I had here wasn't a threat. Because it absolutely is. So I don't know which of those options it is. Maybe there's a third one that I'm not thinking of. But we're going to consolidate on Marini, and my assumption is if he moves out, we're going to take Marini. If he moves in, we'll just move back off of it. But even if that happens, right, this is still going to be relatively beneficial for us, because the more unrest we put on these locations, the less use they are for him, right? In that same vein, we are going to do a little bit of raiding around. We're going to try to put a Dione on Cormark to prevent him from being able to recruit there, and we're going to try to hit Belfields because Belfields is one of his richest provinces that he currently has access to at the moment, right? So I'm going to try to continue to raid those things down, take those options away from him. Okay, so on to actual tangible things. What are we doing recruitment-wise for this turn? We've got a couple of different things. Our income, we've talked about this previously, our income is actually doing pretty good right now, and we keep having these little gold events, so pretty excited about that. We are doing 1 Naminari, 1 Dione, and 1 Oni Shugo. Let me jot that down real quick. And then I want to actually talk about some of them. So obviously the Diones are here, and the goal is to, every other turn, have a Dione, right? Right now, we're recruiting Oni Shugos up in Ulm because we can do an Oni Shugo in a single turn at Ulm. And we're probably going to start throwing them into Scardian Vale in order to create a little Oni pit there so that we have Oni generation closer to the front line of Hinnom, but also to the north of our border with Ubar, right? It's not the greatest location because it's not a mountain, so we can't get specialized Kuro Onis or regular Onis or the Amanajakus or whatever the special sacred ones are. But that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Really, what we're after is a bunch of Aka Onis, right? So it'll be fine. It's just nice at this point, basically, that we are able to afford these things pretty consistently. And as our population scales, we are starting to actually get to the point to where um, it feels like we can reliably recruit things that we are wanting rather than just paying and saving every single turn to try to scrape things together. Um, Again, part of that is because we've been getting really lucky with little minor gold events, but is what it is. So, what else do we have going on? We have a couple of rituals. Nothing really big this turn. We've got just site search stuff. One Augury, one Auspex, one Voice of Apsu, one Arcane Probing, one Haruspex, and then the requisite reanimation that we're doing in Grey Mountains. We got that going on. Oh, and we did do a Ghost General last turn, so I wanted to show this off. Here is Akeno. There's this guy. These are his stats, right? HP 20, which is pretty okay. He's got Ethereal, and he's got a chill aura around him. He's undead, so he doesn't have to worry about a lot of things. He's got Fear, right? He's got Cold Resistance. He's aquatic. He's got a Bane Blade inherently, so it's pretty hard. Decent-ish protection and defense skill, not crazy, but decent-ish. And he's got 80 leadership, so he does give morale boosts, right? But more importantly, he has 120 undead leadership. So he's kind of a opposite, like a flip side of a demon general. The demon generals give a better boost to morale, but they can't lead that many undead. This guy can lead more undead. He just doesn't give as much of a morale boost, but generally speaking, that's okay, right? It's one morale, and if we need to, we can always put things like Horns of Valor or what is it, Helm of Heroes or whatever. The I don't even remember which is that like Helmet of Heroes. That's what it is. Inspirational too. Right, so we can do that type of stuff to kind of like boost out his, and then right we could also give him undead leadership buffs, and we can make him lead things like our Ko-Oni, right, who have pretty low morale. But if they have a decent leader, right, they can get up to 13, 14, 15, and they have less issues breaking because of their stupid, undisciplined shit at that point, right? Or you can just say fuck it, and you can actually lead better units like Aka-Onis or your Kuro-Onis or Onis, etc., to kind of like just reinforce that factor. So these are a little expensive, so we're probably not going to get all that many of them, but they are nice. They're a little more survivable than the base demon generals, and they make pretty good leaders for our army. And they're way more survivable than like a Mound King is, right? Like, so, and they actually give bonuses. So that's a decent little thing that we're doing there. And then we are doing a bit of forging this turn. We are doing a Lightless Lantern, Earth Boots, Dragon Helmet, Scutata Volturnus, Boots of the Messenger, and Ring of Regeneration. Jot that down real quick. And most of this is relatively normal shit. Lightless Lanterns just continuing to build out our research speed as best we can. Earth Boots are kind of, I think, the one out-of-the-box thing. We don't really have any Earth Boosters right now. As we get higher into Conjuration, we do get options for things like Troll King's Court, or maybe we could go for some Kings of Elemental Earth. I don't know if those are on the field right now, but we do have a lot of Earth Gems, so maybe we could snag one of those or something like that. And then if we go into Enchantment, which is probably the next direction that we will go, we could potentially do something like Earthblood Deepwell if we get the right set. That's kind of difficult for us, though. Like, I think the best option we have for something like that is a Dai Oni who gets a Earth 3. If we got super duper lucky and we got this 10%, we got an Earth 4, then okay, yeah, great, right? Earth 4, Earth boots up to 5. But even then, right, like we would still have to empower him. So I don't know that that's a great option. So maybe we don't go all that way, but regardless, right, like we don't have any Earth boosters right now at all. So my mindset there was basically just, let's get an Earth booster or two in our pocket so that we can utilize them if we need to. We do actually have, we are not far off of doing something like Marble Warriors, right? Which is a bit better than something like End of Weakness. So we could go that route if we so chose. Also Iron Walls. So, other than that, Dragon Helmet, Scutata Volturnus, Boots of the Messenger, Ring of Regeneration, those are all things that we use to normally fill out gear sets. So, basically just trying to put those together so we can fill out more Dione. That's pretty much it. So, I think that is probably about it for this turn. There's not really a whole lot else to report. Oh, shit. I've kind of just become like inured to the situation. I'm just over here in my little personal war with Hinnom, but the greater effect of the world as a whole, the game is not yet over. So let's take a look at thrones. Helheim still has 1, 2, 3, 4 thrones. So only 4 now, actually. But he is still sitting on the golden throne, so that is a 5th throne. Looks like he is fighting over the throne at Light Hills as well. So right now, it's the game is kind of like pulled back off of high alert. Everyone's still very much like Ubar and Lanka, for example, are still like, everyone kill Helheim. They could still win. This is still a bad thing, blah, 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 blah. But I think everyone else has kind of gone, okay, well, you guys seem to have it in hand. Good luck, right? Like, I think that's the general feel that has happened. And in point of fact, Helheim and I are actually starting to chat and potentially sending items back and forth and things like that. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. So, that is pretty much it for the turn. 3 turns off of Conjuration 8, where we will be planning to try to throw up Earth or Well of Misery ASAP, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.